The various shows that have been coming out on Disney Plus and the new MCU movies have had a very big impact on older MCU Marvel Legends figures. Some of them are just jumping off the page. I'm thinking the classic comic book Kang figure. I'm thinking the MCU Loki. If you even want to look beyond Marvel Legends, take a look at Cad Bane after he shot up after appearing in The Bad Batch. So that leaves the million-dollar question, who's going to be next? Who do you need to go out and buy now before they shoot up in price and you just really can't afford to add them to your collection? That's what we're going to talk about today. What's going on, everybody? My name is Matt, often called Big Nerdy. You are the NWO, the Nerd World Order, and this is Nerdzoic. You guys know my analytical, weird, nerdy brain loves talking about figure values and metrics and rise, fall, all that crap. We're going to take a look at how some of these Disney Plus shows and movies have impacted the value of various Marvel Legends, and we're going to try to predict what's next. Now, as I said at the beginning, Kang. Kang is a perfect example. That figure was a peg warmer at one point from the Joe Fixit Build-A-Figure wave. Now, he's kind of tough to find. Just look at the graph. Back before he appeared on Loki, he was going $28 to $30. Now, he's gonna cost you at least $50 plus shipping. And like I said, way before, you could easily find him on the pegs. Another great example of this is the Loki from Thor Ragnarok. The face on this is probably the best Tom Hiddleston likeness we got on a Loki body, not on like a generic TVA suited body. I don't know why that's there, but yeah, this is probably the best Loki we got. And take a look at him. He was under retail for a long time, and then Loki comes out, boom, goes up $10. Now you can't get him for less than $30. Then of course there's the entire Disney Plus first wave. Those figures are just going buku crazy. They are by far my best selling wave of figures I've had for my store, and talking from Amir from Toy Snowman, that's his best selling wave too. So I think it's safe to say these figures are like stupidly popular, and they're really driving casual fans into the market to buy them, which is driving the aftermarket price up. So we really need to take a look and see, okay, what figures are going to see a drive up in market price as these new projects come to the screen, big screen and small, that we can go out and get for ourselves now, so that we don't have to pay a ton later when we're like, oh wow, that character's cool, I want to go get him. What, that much? We're going to start off with a movie that just came out a few days ago as I record this, which is Shang-Chi. I have not been able to get to see it yet. Hopefully later next week I'll see it before this video even releases. But one of the figures that has not come out as part of Shang-Chi that we know about because it was in the trailer is Abomination. We've gotten a bunch of Abomination Build-A-Figures. By a bunch, I mean 2. Neither one is particularly perfect. One kind of looks like the Swamp Thing. Neither is an MCU Abomination, but here's my thought. Are they really going to give us a third Abomination in a 5-year period? I think it's doubtful, especially since we know it's not part of the initial Shang-Chi movie figures. So I would think that the demand for those Abomination figures, the 2 previous Build-A-Figures, is going to go up. The first one is a Gamerverse Build-A-Figure. This is the one that I think looks kind of like a Swampfish Godzilla thing. I don't really care for it, I'm not gonna lie to you. 4 years later, we got another Gamerverse Abomination, which is kind of unheard of for them to like redo a bath that soon. This one looks to me more like the MCU Abomination. This is the one I want from my collection, if I can find it. Right now, somewhere between 70 and 80, so he is a little bit more expensive than the other one, but I think it's better to pay up for this one than Swamp Thing Abomination. Skipping ahead a bit, next spring we know we have a She-Hulk show. I went through the cast list, and one of the people who are going to be on are Tim Roth, who plays the human version of Abomination. So Abomination is going to be in She-Hulk as well. So that's 2 different projects he shows up, and if he doesn't get a figure, the demand's just going to explode. If you want an Abomination, buy it now. I wish I had some for sale to cash in on this, but I don't. I'm really just telling you that it's a good time to buy. Next up, let's talk about Thor 4, which is Thor Love and Thunder. I'm really looking forward to this because it's from one of my favorite storylines of Thor ever, the Jason Aaron God Butcher storyline. We got Christian Bale in. Oh, it's gonna be good. But hey, here's the thing. 2 people who are credited in the cast list. 1, Jeff Goldblum as the Grand Master. 2, Taika Waititi as Korg. If you remember, that Korg and Grand Master 2-pack was like a peg-warming brick that people used as like a doorstop. I highly doubt they're going to make another Korg or another Grand Master figure from the MCU. I'm sure there's a possibility of a comic book one, but that's it. So what I'm saying here is, I think there's a really good shot that those figures jump up after they're in the new movie for people who never got them the first time around, especially Korg. So if you want them, go get them now. You can get them for pretty cheap. Last I looked, it was like $35 for the 2 2-pack. If you just want cord, you can probably get him for under $20. He's a great looking figure too. Do it now, he's gonna go up. Then we got Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. There's a lot of first time figures in here that we've never gotten before. For example, of course, Wong. We've never gotten the Wong figure. This will be his like 5th movie at this point, so I'm sure we'll get that with the Doctor Strange movie. But one of the figures that I'm kind of thinking here is, are we gonna get another Scarlet Witch? That Scarlet Witch from the Disney Plus wave that I mentioned at the beginning of this video, that thing's going bananas, as Pat Patterson would say. It goes bananas, and it's gonna go more bananas. If we don't get another Scarlet Witch in that costume for that movie, like a very similar figure, which the odds are pretty low of, that figure, which is already incredibly tough to find, it's back ordered till next March, is gonna get even worse. If you can find it in stock anywhere, good luck. But if you can find it for pre-order at like close to retail, do it, pre-order it now, because I think that we're never going to see this in stock anywhere. Right now, it's only going for about 35 bucks on the aftermarket, but I think that's only going to go up. Spider-Man No Way Home, which is probably the movie I'm more excited for than literally anything. They have a lot of classic characters who are rumored and confirmed to be in this. What tends to happen, like with Kang, is the comic book counterpart tends to jump up when a classic character appears in the MCU. So some of this is speculation, and I'm going to kind of give you my opinion on some of this. Some of this I feel really strongly about. Let's talk about Spider-Man. First of all, hello, Peter. Doc Ock. I'm sure we'll get another movie version of Doc Ock at some point based on his appearance in this movie. We couldn't have gotten it before because he was just Sony, but I think we'll get another Alfred Molina Doc Ock. But here's the question. It took a really long time to get a classic comic book Doc Ock that we got a few years ago in the SPDR Build-A-Figure wave. I love that figure. I never bought it. It's going for about $50 now. I can see that becoming a $80 figure by the end of the year if we don't get a re-release. Now, this is one that I think actually has a shot at a re-release on a retro card. If that's going to happen, I think we'll know in the next few months. But if it doesn't get re-released, this figure is going to be really tough to come by. I'm tempted to pay up for it now, knowing that later I might regret it. Then there's the Sandman. So this is an interesting one. We have the new one coming out here in October that is like human person sized that people are already hating on. So if you want the bigger one, the Build-A-Figure, you might need to pay up for that now. Personally, I'm more than happy with the regular version one that's coming out on a retro card here in October. By the way, got them for sale on the website. Go get one, pre-order time. But yeah, Sandman, awesome. If you want to go get the Build-A-Figure, do it now. Speaking of expensive figures, Bullseye. The comic Bullseye that came out as part of the Man-Thing Build-A-Figure wave is one of my most wanted figures. It's also pretty expensive, currently going for about $50 to $60. Wilson Bethel, who plays Bullseye either in the old Spider-Man films or in the Netflix series, I don't remember, for Daredevil. Either way, he's rumored to be in this, so if that happens, possibly get an MCU version of him. But again, what happens to the comic book counterpart? It's already going for that $50, $60, even $70. It's gonna go up again. So this is another one where you might just have to suck it up and pay up for it. I'm probably gonna wait a little bit and see what happens, but I don't see them re-releasing him anytime soon. Hey, as long as we're depressingly talking about figures that we really can't afford to get because they're expensive and only gonna get more expensive, how about the 2015 Rhino Build-A-Figure? That thing's going for well north of $100, closer to $150 lately. I'm not paying it. I'm absolutely not. I think he'll eventually get re-released. I highly recommend that if you want a classic Rhino and you see the figure start going up when the movie comes out because he makes an appearance, don't panic and go overpay for it. I think we'll eventually see another one. All right, let's talk Green Goblin. So we already know at the very least we have William Dafoe's Laugh. If you want a movie version of the Green Goblin and you want to go back to 2002, good luck. I will hope that we'll eventually get one for the MCU. I'm sure we will. But the question becomes, what about a Green Goblin comic book version? Luckily, we just got one last year with the Spider-Man Retro Collection. It's already spiked though. He's already going for the mid-30s. I recommend you pick this guy up or at least get one of the Green Goblin versions. There's one from a few years back as well. Whatever you can find cheapest. Sticking with classic villains from Spider-Man that are supposedly going to be in this movie, we know that Jamie Foxx is going to be in this as Electro. So how about the classic Electro, which you can pick up for under $20 loose right now, or I think even on card you can pick it up for under $20. Highly recommend you go get that because again, it could go up. Last but not least, MJ. I don't think we'll get another MJ figure. At least that's my opinion. So go back and take a look at the Spider-Man Homecoming 2-pack that had MJ in it. It's going for about $10 over retail, but if you just want to get the MJ, you could probably get her loose for about 20, 25 bucks off of eBay. I don't think we'll get another one, so I do see this becoming harder to find later on. We're going to go into Hawkeye now. Hawkeye, I think, has some of the best figures that are going to be like impossible to find later. So specifically, Yelena Belova. We know that she is in the show. We know it from the end of the Black Widow movie, and also she's on the cast list. She did get a figure during Black Widow. Will we get another? I don't know. I tend to think no, because from what I've seen as far as rumors, she's not on any of them. We'll probably get one eventually, but if you want one anytime soon, go pick up the one from the Black Widow movie. Now it's already starting to bounce up. It's already pushing mid-20s, close to $30 to pick it up. If you can find it anywhere under $30, I'd pick it up now if I were you. I would not be surprised if we saw some sort of like an homage to the classic purple Hawkeye suit in the show. Even if we don't, I think there's going to be a demand for the character's old school outfit, like the comic book version, and there's not that many options. And even worse, there's not any cheap options. The one that came out on the retro vintage style Avengers card, that one's going for upwards of $70. I'm tempted to pay it. If you see a deal on that, if you're at a con, you see it for 40 or 50 bucks, you jump. Alternatively, you could get the one that came from the All-Father Build-A-Figure wave. You can find him if you look hard enough for $30, $35, but he's not that easy to come by. I don't ever see him at cons or online very often, but when I do, 35, 40 bucks or so. I like the other version better, but not $40 better. But yeah, I think you're going to want to pick one of them up if you need to have a classic Hawkeye in your collection. This one's painful to see how much it's going to cost you, but Kate Bishop is going to be in the show. I don't know if we're going to get a comic booky purple Kate Bishop. If you want one, there's only one that they've made so far. It's part of a 3-pack with Vision and Sam Wilson Captain America. She looks awesome, but that 3-pack's going to cost you like $115. You might be able to just get her for 40 or 50, probably pushing $50. She's not going to be cheap, and I can see this one going way up when the show comes out. I already mentioned She-Hulk and talked about Abomination, but a couple other figures to keep in mind here that could see themselves go way up after the show comes out. First of all, the Wrecking Crew, the Wrecker. I'm sorry, I know I always mess that up because the package says Wrecking Crew. I know he works for the Wrecking Crew. Please don't take my nerd card. But yeah, he's already one of the most valuable. I think he's in the top 5 most valuable, most expensive Marvel Legends. I think it could get worse. But the good news is this could go the other way. We could get another Wrecker figure, which means this one goes down, theoretically. But this is the classic comic version, so I doubt it. Also rumored to be in the show is, I'm going to mess this up, but I think it's Scar, the son of the Hulk. He was part of the Fin Fang Foom Build-A-Figure wave, so you know he's expensive. You might be able to pick him up loose, but I do hear he's going to be in the show. If he does, there's going to be demand for the figure. Then we have the Ms. Marvel TV series, which is coming out sometime in 2022, and don't laugh at me for this, but Kamala Khan has 2 figures. Both were major peg warmers. Both can be picked up pretty dirt cheap. I actually like the newer one from the Gamerverse Abomination wave, which you can get like for 15 bucks. Tell me you can beat that anywhere. Because you can't. Go get her now. I never cared for the stock market, but I love speculating toys, even though I know if people scream scalper, scalper. This is a big part of collecting, is knowing when to buy and when to sell to get the most bang for your buck, folks. In fact, a few months ago, I made a video about figures on the rise and on the fall. If you want to see how I do at these type of predictions, check out that video right here. And remember, you have to get old, but you don't have to grow up. Just be cool and stay nerdy. Later.